Hello again, everybody. This is Rocket Rick J18, and today I'm going to talk to you about the 1956 Topps baseball card set. And in doing so, I'll be going over some information about the set first, and then secondly, I'm going to show you the cards, at least the ones that I have. So, without any further ado, let's get started. First of all, there are very few rookie cards of well, let's say it this way: there's only one Hall of Fame rookie card in the set, and that is Luis Aparicio. Um, there are 16 other rookie cards, but none of them are Hall of Famers or even really big stars. Uh, the most glaring uh, card that's missing is a rookie card for Frank Robinson, who was a rookie in 1956, which was really his first big year. So no card for Frank Robinson. Um, really, no explanation that I know of why, but he's definitely missing, and it's a glaring omission. Um, as far as I know, and I haven't really, made a great effort to confirm this, but there may be another one or two. The only 1956 card that I'm aware of is his Cons Wieners card, which doesn't normally count as a rookie card because it was not widely distributed or nationally distributed. It's from a regional set of cards that featured um, teams within that region, including the Pittsburgh Pirates and Cincinnati Reds. So, um, there are, however, a lot of big star cards. Perhaps the biggest of which would be Ted Williams, Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, Sandy Koufax, Mickey Mantle, Harmon Killebrew, just a lot of big star cards. There also are cards of the league presidents. Warren Giles is card number 2, National League president, and William Harridge, the American League president, is card number 1. This is the first year to feature a uh, Topps set as the only nationally distributed card set, since there is uh, no more Bowman cards. So this is the first year of 25 years in a row in which there is no, or 24 years in a row, 25 years in a row, which there is no competitor for Topps. So Topps is it. If you want a card set, um, it's Topps and Topps alone, and would remain so from 1981 until 2010. So when that and then Topps became again the sole nationally distributed base card set available. So there's 340 base cards and 2 unnumbered checklists, and we'll show you those a little later on. The large format, begun in 1952, is continued with the horizontal cards measuring 3 3/4 inches by 2 5/8 inches. Again, the dual images on the card are a featured presentation continuing, from past sets. Um, there are a lot of cards in this set. because um the first I'm looking for it, 180 cards can be found either with gray backs or uh, kind of a white or cream colored backs. I'm told that the gray colored backs are much more populous than the cream colored by a factor of 10 or thereabouts, maybe a little less than 10. The 160 cards from 180 to 340 are available only in gray. There are a lot of variations in terms of uh, color variations or line variations in the set. There are team cards that have a date on the front, and they are considered more popular and desirable, so they carry a premium. There are um, lots and lots of other variations. So they were sold in packs, either 1 cent or 5 cents. You could buy a box of, I believe, 120 cards. And per 120 cards in a box, 5 in a pack. Um, let's see. There was a time when none of the variations carried a premium, but with the discovery that the Mickey Mantle card number 135 is available either in a white or cream color, and the other is gray color back. With the discovery that those colors are much more numerous in the gray than in the white, the white version carries a significant premium, um, probably maybe a double or even slightly more than double. These were also available in gumball machines, and I'm just going to show you a quick picture of what those machines look like, and let you know that if you were at the National and the YouTube get together, you saw one similar to this uh, that Scott Reindeer Studios had, and he had some cards coming out of that vending machine, which was really a cool thing to see in action. So the cards were actually distributed in these machines in 1956. So that's the backdrop. Let's take a look at the cards themselves, and to do that, we'll uh, feature up the okay, and so on the first page, the only Hall of Famer is Ted Williams, and as a manager, Walter Alston. Warren Giles and William Harridge are also in the Hall of Fame, but they're not players. Um, Moving on, Hall of Famer Warren Spahn is on the next page. Ken Boyer, who is not a Hall of Famer, on the next page. Ernie Banks, who is a Hall of Famer, also on the next page. So there's an example of the team card with the team name shifted to the left, They're also available centered and shifted to the right. So we'll see what the future holds for these cards. Here's Al Kaline and Dick Grote, Gene Conley. Uh, uh, Gene Conley would go on to be a great trivia question, as he won an NBA championship 3 different times with the Boston Celtics and won Major League Baseball championship with these Milwaukee Braves in 1957. So if you weren't aware of that, there's another stumper you can ask your friends. There's Ted Kluszewski, Hall of Famer Jackie Robinson, Hall of Famer Hank Aaron. Those cards don't look in too bad a shape, especially the Aaron. And so we'll see some cards in good shape, some cards in very rough shape, and we'll just kind of point them out as we go along. The Roberto Clemente, number 33, is in pretty good shape. The Al Rosen, pretty good shape. The Don Mossy, well, you can almost pick out the hair and the ears there. I'm really giving Don Mossy a bad time. There's Bob Turley, who would go on to be the hero of the 1958 World Series as a pitcher. It's in pretty rough shape. Sandy Amoros, who made the catch in 1955 on Yogi Berra's line drive in the 7th game of the 55 series. Without that catch, that whole World Series might have been turned around. There's Dusty Rhodes, hit a home run to win Game 1 of the 51 World Series. Wally Moon and Dale Long, notable players. That eyebrow, unibrow for Wally Moon is pretty spectacular. Bill Skowron looks to be in pretty good shape. Hal Smith with the Orioles. There's a later Hal Smith with the Cardinals. Chuck Tanner. Vic Power. Chuck Stobbs. Not Hall of Famers, but good players nevertheless. Harvey Haddix. Here's Hall of Famer Sandy Koufax, and as you can see, that card is in pretty rough shape. These are all faded points on the card, surface issues, some corner wear on the back, some either missing paper or paper that is stuck to the card. A little hard to tell which without taking the card out, which I'm probably not going to do. I did take one card out to show you a little bit later, but you can see again some of these common cards are pretty good shape, some of them are not. So, that's a sign for potential upgrades at some point in the future. There's the Cincinnati Redlegs, again shifted to the left. Here's the Cleveland Indians, again shifted to the left. Boxes. Milwaukee Braves, same situation. There's Roy Campanella, Hall of Famer. Another really good player, pitcher, Camilo Pascual. Hall of Famer Enos Slaughter and Yogi Berra. There's the Boston Red Sox with the name in the center. There's Eddie Matthews, Hall of Famer. So we got 3 Hall of Famers on this page. Phil Rizzuto, Hall of Famer. Nellie Fox, Hall of Famer. Richie Ashburn, Hall of Famer. This is a card that so badly either torn or creased that it was taped. So that's definitely one that'll have to be And you can see here's a card, the Nellie Fox, in the cream colored Pittsburgh Pirates, sent with the center position. Hall of Famer Minnie Minoso. There's Orlando would correct me, and rightfully so. The Willie Mays card has tape, big creases, lots of corner wear, terrible condition. But here's a card that's not in too bad a condition. There we go. So let's just have a look at this. Okay. There you can see Mickey Mantle, a little distorted, but there's a big crease right through here. This is an interesting photo because it looks like he's running to his left and catching the ball over his shoulder, and yet you can see that many of the players, including this apparently lady right here, is pointing in the opposite direction. This man's pointing in the opposite direction, and quite a few of them are looking in the opposite direction. So there's a school of thought that Mantle's photograph was, I guess, an early version of photoshopping, just uh, pasted onto the background picture along with his profile shots, both of them. That's interesting sideline. This is a gray back card. I don't have the white back card, but I think that my upgrade for this set for the Mickey Mantle card is going to be the white back version. That's my current thinking anyway. Next page, Herb Score, Jimmy Pearsall featured. There's the Duke Snyder card and the Gil Hodges card, Hall of Famers. Duke is in pretty bad shape. Gil's not in bad shape except for the centering. And speaking of centering, there's the Washington Nationals card, which is with the name centered. On the next page, Harvey Keene won an American League batting title. Later traded by Detroit to Cleveland for Rocky Colavito, and thought to be an even trade at the time, maybe, but in retrospect, not an even trade. Cleveland got the short end of the stick on that one. And there's Billy Pierce. There's Hall of Famers Red Schoendienst and Harmon Killebrew. Gene Woodling and Gus Bell are also on this side, and the Brooklyn Dodger team card, again with the Dodger name centered. There's Billy Verdon, Del Crandall, Johnny Padres, Hank Bauer, Billy Martin, Joe Black, Hall of Famer Robin Roberts, Carl Furillo, Early Wynn, Hall of Famer, Smokey Burgess, not in the Hall of Fame, but pretty widely respected player in his day. There's Vinegar Bend Mizell, later elected to Congress as a Republican from South Carolina. One of the principal reasons why the annual baseball game between the House Republicans and House Democrats was won by the House Republicans for many years while uh, Mizell was a congressman. Monty Irvin, Hall of Famer. George Kell, Hall of Famer. Bob Feller, Hall of Famer. Pretty good players all. Very good players all. Exceptional players. Bob Feller, you can see, has writing on it, so it's definitely a candidate for upgrade. Next page, Elston Howard, Whitey Lockman. These are very good players, not in the Hall of Fame. Maybe Elston Howard should be. MVP in 1963. Certainly an outstanding, exceptional catcher. Probably should be in the Hall of Fame. Mike Garcia, Cleveland Indians pitcher. Johnny Temple, not Hall of Famers, but again, certainly very good. Detroit Tigers, again centered. Joe Nuxall, Bob Friend, Lou Burdett, Del Ennis, all stars in their day, but not quite Hall of Famers. Gil McDougall, Harry Breheen of the Baltimore Orioles had been with the Cardinals, one of the star pitching prospects for the 1946 World Championship team that defeated Ted Williams and the Boston Red Sox in Ted's only World Series appearance. New York Giants, again, that's with the centered name variation. Carl Erskine, Pete Runnels, Don Newcomb, all star players in their time, but not in the Hall of Fame. And Whitey Ford, who is in the Hall of Fame. Don Mueller, who was a New York Giants outfielder when Willie Mays was in center and Monty Irvin in left. Mueller played in right field. Hall of Famer Larry Doby joins some pretty distinguished non-Hall of Famers. And another Hall of Famer, Bob Lemon, also with Cleveland. You can see that Larry Doby has joined the White Sox when this picture was taken, whereas just has a C on the top of his hat. And Bob Lemon has the Indian logo inside the C on his hat. Yankees with a centered variation. Vernon Law, not a Hall of Famer, but and George Crowe, also not a Hall of Famer. George Crowe is one of the early, later on the St. Louis Cardinals, was one of the older players who helped ease Bob Gibson's entry into the National League while he was with the Cardinals. Bobby Shantz, who won a Cy Young Award, or an MVP rather, with the Philadelphia Athletics. So changed cities, but same franchise. Here's Hall of Famer Pee Wee Reese down there at the bottom, again in a card that probably should be upgraded, along with the Howie Paulette, who has writing on the front. Sam Jones also. No Hall of Famers on the next page. Dale Mitchell featured in the 1956 team. He was traded during the season to the Brooklyn Dodgers and became the last out on a strikeout in the 1956 World Series Game 5. That was Don Larson's perfect game. Jim Gilliam, really very great player in his own right, not in the Hall of Fame. Walker Cooper, also a very good player. Not that all of these players aren't good. I mean, let's face it, they're in the Hall of Fame, and or not in the Hall of Fame. They played Major League Baseball and were among the very few who had the opportunity to do that. Here's Bob Serve, the other Hal Smith, and some other players. Kurt Simmons and Ernie Johnson, Andy Semenick, very good players. Johnson, as noted in other videos, um, a very excellent um, career as a broadcaster. And his son, Ernie Johnson, of ESPN fame and later network fame, especially with the NBA, has had a brilliant career, which is not yet over. Luis Aparicio, a Hall of Famer, and some other players that notable. Bob Skinner with the Pirates, Vic Wertz with the Indians, Frank Malzone with the Boston Red Sox, Hall of Famer Hoyt Wilhelm with the New York Giants, Junior Stevens with the Boston Red Sox, Jerry Coleman with the New York Yankees, Joe Adcock with the Milwaukee Braves, all very certainly stars in their day. 1950 MVP Jim Constanti, relief pitcher, now with the Yankees, formerly with the Whiz Kids of Philadelphia. Don Hoke, Don Larson, and Ellis Kinder, certainly stars in their day. This is Don Larson's card from the year that he pitched the perfect game in the World Series. Here are the final four cards ending with Mickey McDermott, formerly a Red Sox pitcher, kind of like many left-handers seem to be, a bit of a free spirit. And here are the two checklist cards. I'm going to see if I can remove one of those to show you a little bit more closely. They're not this long. That's just an artifact of the camera. Obviously, this one is checked. Somebody looks like they had very close to a complete set of these cards, or at least they checked most all of the boxes, with a couple of exceptions. Check off all cards you have. Trade your duplicates for numbers you need to complete the series. There are 340 in Topps 1956 baseball, including 16 full team pictures. That's what it says on the back. And these cards are sought after by uh, collectors like me who wanted to have a complete set of base cards because of the number and variety of the checklists of the cards in the 56 set. Uh, I certainly don't intend to collect a master set of this. That would be, I mean, many of the variations are just errors, corrected errors, and things on the wrong date, or a one-off RBI, or 2 points in the ERA or something like that. So they're just only to the most anal of us, uh, and I'm pretty much that way, but not with respect to this set. So I am going to go after the Mickey Mantle variation, because I am consider myself to be a Mantle collector. Uh, I don't have any $10,000 Mickey Mantle cards. Certainly not that I paid $10,000 anyway. I suppose you could say the 51 bone rookie card might be a $10,000 card, but it's I didn't even pay $1,000 for it. In fact, I paid more to have it graded than I paid for the card itself. So anyway, that's my 1956 top set. Um, I'll just